Okay, welcome back to the Betamax Rebel Outpost. This is a part 2 of the SL-HF750 motor modification video that I did. And here's the new motor, and I'm quite disappointed by it. Right when I got it, I realized it was the wrong thing because I can tell the magnet was really strong on this motor, and I guess I misunderstood. The rating was 12 to 24 volts DC, but I guess I overlooked the RPMs. They said 24,000, and I just assumed that it's up to 24,000 RPM. But seeing that the magnet was really strong was the first indicator that this motor is not going to work. This is too fast of a motor, and here it is. I'm hooking up, as you can see on the DMM, I'm hooking up 11.9897 volts, around about 12 volts. And that's just too freaking fast. This thing is for like some other kind of device. I'm really disappointed in this purchase. For one, I knew I was going to have to do some modifications to it. I actually got two of them. The shaft length is, I knew it was too long when I made the purchase, so here's the first one. I did shorten the shaft with a Dremel cutoff wheel and a little bit of filing on the edge, but yeah, it just runs too damn fast. So, and another thing too about this motor that I noticed right away is that nowhere on the motor is there any printing that says that it's a 280R. So, unlike the HF750 motor that clearly has a stamp on it, RF280R, they're roughly the same dimensions. This little standoff spacer piece right here, this diameter is obviously much larger than the new motor's diameter here. This little raised section, the little raised section is thinner. That's okay. I was going to live with that, but the hole spacing is completely off. So if I were to put this into the gearbox assembly here, so the screw holes don't even come close to matching up. And even if I was to get screws in there, they would butt up against the coupler. And as you can see, I've modified my coupler with the with my little custom aluminum pressed-in retaining rings, because as you know, the couplers they crack, they form a crack after time, and then the motor starts slipping because there's simply no grab to the coupler anymore. Anyway, I got it to fit, but the holes just simply don't line up. There's no markings that this is a 280R. It's really strange. I'm not sure why it's called a 280R. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I didn't think it was a coincidence because they were both the same size, but I guess I should have read the listing a little more carefully and realized that this motor was just going to run too fast. That's okay. I could always use extra motors lying around for you know, future projects. Maybe I can use it for, you know, an electric pump project or something like that. Not a big deal. I just wanted to see what it would do. So anyone out there who's thinking that there's an option to buy a 280R, you can basically forget it, because those 280Rs on eBay are not the same as the original SL-HF50 RF280R. So don't be fooled by that like I was. But this is what happens when you're trying stuff out. You know, you make mistakes, and you learn from your mistakes, and you just move on. So Anyway, I'm back to my SL-HF360 motor because I really want to see if this one will work. So I want to do it a little bit differently this time. Right here I have, this is my SL-HF750 parts unit that I just finished putting back together. It has a bad head disc, so the drum is fine, it runs really quiet, but the head disc itself is pretty worn out, so it puts out a really crappy picture. I can't use it for anything else other than testing other parts, sourcing some components here and there. I can use a lot of the ICs, a lot of the boards themselves, the power supply. Everything's perfect. The display is not that bad. It's getting a little dim, but that's okay. I really kind of like them that way. I don't like it when the displays are too glaring, you know, especially when you got all the lights off and you're trying to watch a movie or a TV show or something, and you got this glaring display in your face and there's no dimmer setting for it anywhere. So I'm not too concerned about that. I can always use that display in some other machine. The front panel is excellent. The servo board is perfect. The video boards, the audio boards, the power supply is perfect. It's just the head disc itself is bad. And I can always replace that with, I believe I can replace that with a head disc from a two-head model like a SL-HF360 or 860D from the late 80s. The only thing is, though, is that I'll lose all the pause, step advance, freeze frame, clear pause effects. That will be lost. But you'll still have a perfect playback picture, so it's not a complete loss. It still has potential to be a really good transfer unit for transferring tapes over to digital media. Okay, so back over to this motor mod. In the last video, I talked a lot about the HF360 or the SL. I talked a lot about the SL330 option, and I want to carry on with that and see if this can be done. But I want to do it a little bit differently. Instead of mounting the backboard PCB directly behind it to the other PCB, the tuner board, I want to see if I could just mount it to the motor by making a slight modification. Come back. There you go. By making just a slight modification to the actual PCB itself. So here it goes. That looks pretty good. I don't have my heat gun right now, so this is going to have to do. Now then. So, that doesn't look too bad. The only trouble is how to mount it. Okay, so yeah, I'm just using some double-sided tape here to hold the PCB to the back of the motor. I tried using Velcro, but the adhesive doesn't work too good with the motor steel, so scrap that idea. And also the polarity Um, if I was to wire this up correctly, then the wires would cross and it would appear kind of stupid, kind of unprofessional. So I've got a solution for that. I just have to remember to put it back the way I found it. If I find an original RF280R motor, but for my experimenting purposes, this will be fine. I've got a solution for that. For now, I'm going to go ahead and just solder them in the wrong terminals, or I mean the wrong pads. I need to hold this motor a little bit better. There we go. Give that a little bit more solder. There we go. It's not super pretty, and just so that this works correctly, now I'm going to swap the pin polarity here. Okay, there we go. Oh, let's see, this coupler yes, this coupler has a split on it, so I'm going to scrap that for now. Oh, that's right. There's this rubber grommet thing to put in here to reduce vibration. May as well add that. Oh, but if I add that, that poses a problem too, because the larger screws are not going to fit those holes right there. Yeah, I don't want to cut that. That's an original part. I'd rather not mess with it because I may find a 280R motor later on in the future, so I'm just going to leave that out for right now. I just want to see if the SL300, SL330 motor, threading or loading motor, what is this? Yeah, I just want to see if this would work. Because that might be a more viable option, is you know, finding an SL300 or SL330 parts machine, you know, that's got something major wrong with it, like a worn out head, a worn out ace, you know, something like that, versus trying to hunt down a Betacam SP motor, although there are a couple available right now on eBay for relatively cheap. I saw one for about 24 bucks. And it comes with the entire threading block assembly, or at least the not the threading block assembly, but the threading cradle gearbox. It comes with that, but you can just take that off and just utilize the motor. For the purposes of repairing your SL-HF750, and I don't know, probably the SL-HF950 PAL. I was taking a look at Mr. Betabyte's latest video on his SL-HF950 repair job, and yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. The inside of the HF950 is a completely different animal compared to the SL-HF750. Unlike the 750, it has a switch mode power supply. And boy, did I really botch that up. How the fuck did that happen? Yeah, so you gotta watch the orientation. This is how you can really fuck things up. You know, I wasn't really paying attention. I forgot about the orientation of the screws and how they sit. So look, I've got my board cockeyed, and that's not going to work too well. So to anyone who's doing the mod, just learn from my mistake here and make sure that your motor is first mounted to the gearbox plate, and then you can figure out where exactly it is that you have to make this cutout on the board to clear the wires. Or, you know what you could do, which would be probably a better idea, is position the board where it needs to be once the motor is mounted, and then just drill 2 holes side by side wherever they need to be. You know what I mean? Here, let me take this off. So really, this board needs to be like this. Okay? So theoretically, all one would have to do is drill a hole here, and never mind grinding anything out off the PCB. Bear with me, guys. I've never done this experiment before, so I'm kind of learning as I go. And I don't care what happens to this board, because this is just my parts machine, so I'm free to experiment any way I wish to experiment with it. Cut this off. Okay, so it's actually right about here. Okay, let's see how that works. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, I'll start over with some new double-sided tape. Okay, I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. All right, I think we're getting very close to testing time here. And there we go. That's what the 750 gear plate came out looking like, except minus the little rubber. I guess it's sort of a shock absorber to kind of smooth out the operation of the loading tray. So yeah, let's put that in and see if that works. I'm really hoping it does. Come on. There it is. Right there. And again, I made a little notch right here in the bracket, just like in the last video. Okay, let's see how this goes. Interesting. Okay, now with the front panel on. Not bad. Kind of jerks back a little bit. I wonder if that's because the motor runs slower. Well, that's the main thing. So it does close the door all the way, proving that the SL-330 motor will operate the linear skate. It will operate the linear skate loading system. I don't think it works as nice and as fast as the Betacam motor, but if you don't have a Betacam motor, the SL-330 motor or the SL-300 motor will work just fine. Alright, and that wraps it up for this one, I think.